Looks like we made it. Me and Lou, baby. Welcome to Monk and Lou's Happy Hour.
Good choice
the
for the song.
Thank you, 50th episode. What a milestone! Our real first official milestone. I don't know what the gift is for 50 episodes, but I think it's like paper or wood or something like that. We'll have to figure it out. But man, I'm excited, and it happens to be UFC pay-per-view week, episode 50. My goodness, everything's lining up. Pereira and Izzy, 2, 3, 4. Who knows at this point how many we're counting? It looks like a banger of a card, and I am here for it. Super stoked for this Friday show. Lou, how's it going? Looking forward to this one here on our 50th anniversary show.
Thank you for putting up with me through 49 shows roughly. And thank you to anybody that's tuned in and hopefully learned something, or in my case, been entertained, as that is what I strive to do. You also notice the mustache is gone. It was a one-day thing. It's enough. Had enough of that. But we got a pay-per-view. I'm very excited to break this down. I'm very excited for a long day of content ahead for me, but 3 completely different styles of shows. So
for sure,
I'm ready. And without further ado on my end, thank you guys.
What's up,
chat?
Chat. Yep. Subhuman, Sean V, Jenna Marie. Love to see you guys in the chat.
Get it.
Let's get it right into it. A fight of much contention right off the bat, Lou. We're jumping right in to the deep end. Sam Hughes going against Jacqueline Amorim. Why don't you start this one off for us?
What a guy you are for me to start. Yeah, I don't like, and let me just tell you guys, as we go on, I have 0 bets in at the moment. The big reason I don't is because, as I told Monk for the show, a lot of the bets that I like, the line's still moving in the direction that I like. So I'm really not in a rush to get anything in. I do have 1 bet in that I don't think I can track it the way it is, but I'll get to that. It's next fight. So I like the Amorim side here. I want to give Monk loves his stats. So I want to give Monk a real fun stat to start. Hughes has lost every fight where she's even faced a takedown.
Oh,
forget about being taken down. Any fight on the UFC level that she's been taken down, had a takedown attempt against her, she's been taken down. I know Amorim's only 6-0. I know she's not fighting the best competition, but she's very credentialed. I mean, this is a no gi BJJ champion for years. She's I believe she's American Top Team. Like, she's only going to improve. Hughes, she's got a decent get-up game, but she's never faced anything like this before. If you like Hughes, I'll use like the old mushroom round 3 decision. I mean, maybe Hughes late, but there's no evidence that Amorim gets tired after the first. She just hasn't been out of the first. So I like Amorim. Instead of playing the sub, I think the round 1, round 2 is a good way to target it on DraftKings. It's the exact same price. They're both plus 150. The last I checked. I think if this thing hits the third, Amorim means she's not having the success that I'm saying she had. But give me Amorim to get it done. I don't know that I'm going to bet it yet. It is the first fight. I bet soccer all day, so it's not like I'm just waiting for 6 p.m. to get my first bet of the day. I can wait another few minutes. But I favor Amorim here. I'd never bet her on the money line. If you're going to bet her, either sub or round 1, round 2, like I said, plus 150 either way.
Don't mind that at all. For DraftKings, I mean, I'm immediately leaning Sam Hughes just to be a bit contrarian for some salary savings as well. In my opinion, you could just pay up $100 more and get Raul Rosas Jr. That said, Amorim could finish Sam Hughes earlier than Rosas could potentially. I know we'll get into that one, and that's not a gimme by any means, but I'm just trying to compare some quick subs here. How well would Amorim score if she did get a quick submission? That means she'd probably land a takedown. Probably not much ground and pound, so maybe even less than 100 points if she does it outside of the first minute. That said, Sam Hughes is super durable. She's made the optimal lineup herself 2 out of 5 fights. She's mostly been an underdog, and that's why at pretty much any score, she lands herself on the optimal lineup. Put up 121 against Reed, 91 against Nunes. I'll have a bit of both sides, but I like some 9K people a bit more. AO's saying probably 100 points. Is that going to be good enough on this card to make the optimal lineup at 100 points? Or, at 100 points at 9K? I'm leaning no, so I'll probably be a bit under the field. I think she's going to be a hot prospect here. I'll be over the field on Sam Hughes because, like you said, we don't know much about Amorim after the first. I'm sure her cardio is fine, but like you said, if this gets into the third, it's not going her way, and there's always the chance for a greasy decision for Miss Sam Hughes. So give me some more of Hughes and a little less of Amareem overall. Ownerships, I don't know why they're not showing up. Amareem, I'm sure, is going to be extremely highly owned, and Hughes will probably be relatively low. Next fight, let's keep it moving. We got a banger, in my opinion, Lou. Wolverine, Shailon Nerdumbieke going against Steve Garcia Jr., the mean machine. Steve Garcia, I have a terrible rattling in my right headphone. It is driving me nuts. Looks like it's time to make an upgrade when I move to Texas. Maybe I'll leave these behind. I'll start this one off. I like this fight. I'm just going to target this fight for DraftKings as a whole. I like Steve Garcia as an underdog pick. What he did to Chase Hooper was phenomenal. I mean, he put up 132 points. That said, Shailon's probably no Chase Hooper. Shailon also can finish, can wrestle, and scores very well. So long story short, I think someone's getting finished in here. I like violence in this fight, and I really like this fight for DraftKings. I'll have a decent amount of Nerdumbieke. He is sub 9K, has made optimal twice, but Steve Garcia made optimal against Hooper. Only 7,300 this week, so a very interesting dog. But I think a lot of people are on him. So just keep your eye on that ownership and kind of just play it how you think, whatever's going to happen. I'll probably be over. Any thoughts on this one as far as bets go? I know you haven't made any bets yet, but anything you're maybe looking at preliminary?
This is the one bet I do have because I can't track it. But I realized that, it's Thursday. So I'm like completely out of sorts. Typically, I've been at the bar for many hours at this point. So for happy hour, I decided to grab a nice cold beverage. This beer is not that good.
But it's cold.
It's an Irish cream stout from Southern Tier. They're a great company. They always make good beers. But imagine if a stout and a cream soda fucked.
Ooh. Nice, heavy and a little sweet.
It smells good. No, it tastes, it's terrible. But
I'm a cream soda head, so vanilla is a flavor. Fantastic.
Okay, so let me keep coming with the stats.
Let's do it. I love it.
One bet I am looking to do. I'm also on the Garcia side.
Nice.
Shailon at this level, he's really slow starter. Soriano won the first round. Let's forget about his last fight. I don't care about the last fight, with Minner. We don't have to address that.
Yeah, the fixed fight. Right.
So here's a fun fact about Steve Garcia. You'd have to go back to his first fight in 2013 in Bellator to find the last time that he got a finish that was after the 7.5 minute mark of a fight.
Oh, wow.
Shailon's a slow starter. Garcia is just a beast early. DraftKings has a prop, Garcia and under 1.5 at plus 600, and I've already hit that. That's my only bet that I have in right now. I feel like it's his win condition. I don't know that he has decision equity. I'm not saying he has 0% decision equity. If he keeps it on the feet and Nürnberg is just tough, Garcia could, volume-based decision. But I also like the Garcia finish only prop at plus 180. I don't think that he's 100% of the finish equity here, but he's pretty tough. And Nürnberg is the way he fights. I mean, he has no urgency to get finishes.
Right.
He didn't even attempt to finish against Soriano. He was happy to have control. Same with TJ Brown. I mean, he's happy to win minutes and really do no damage, like another guy we're going to talk about on this card soon. But I like the Garcia side, but his money line to me is not the way to go. And I really think that for him to win, he probably needs to finish 90% of the time. So under 1.5 and Garcia plus 600, finish only plus 180. And and Garcia also, by the way, not a terrible grappler. Not great. Luis Pena backpacked him, but Garcia's not awful on the ground. He's not a fish out of water. He doesn't settle for position. He is always trying to get up, trying to evade stuff. So
he's going to be way bigger than Shailon if ESPN or UFC stats are to be believed. We got a 4-inch height advantage, 6-inch reach advantage as well.
Yeah, last note for the viewers, last note for you and the viewers. The last 2 times Garcia fought, I had him to beat Mahashate, and he got killed.
Yeah.
And then I had Chase Hooper to beat Steve Garcia,
and he murdered him.
So I'm just letting you know, I like the Garcia side, but I'm 0 for his last 2.
Yeah.
So, and badly.
Uh-oh. How did that happen?
Uh-oh.
That's all right.
There you go.
Grab my
Even
keyboard.
your computer is telling you go
Yeah,
and see it.
get Nerd and Beak out of here. Yeah, exactly. Well, we will keep it moving. I mean, another at least one-sided exciting fight here. Ignacio Bahamondes. Why don't you start us off here with him going against Trey Ogden, the Samurai Ghost? I don't know if is that a ghost that is a samurai, someone that used to be a samurai that's now a ghost, or is it just like a quiet samurai?
Well, so I don't know if you
It's up
heard.
for interpretation.
I don't know if you heard Sadiq Youssef's breakdown on
Not
the original
yet,
fight.
unfortunately. The
Well, in
goat.
the original one, he said samurais are cool and so are ghosts, but he got greedy and he put 2 in his nickname. So like you can't bet him.
That's so true.
I mean, he's the most successful guy in the space. Also, it's not just our 50th anniversary. I wanted to lead off the show with this. A special shout out. Happy birthday to my brother Mike's MMA picks.
Oh, wow.
Have a blessed day, my friend, with no ballyhoo is all I ask. No offbeat shenanigans, no tomfoolery, no ballyhoo. Mike, love you, buddy. Got to do a show soon, my man. Got to get you on
Happy birthday.
Here. The people need it.
That's true. They demand it even.
So I don't want to like go too deep into this fight because I feel like I just broke down this fight, even though it's a different fighter and Bahamondes has more experience and whatever. But the same thing applies to me here. When Ogden gets hurt, he dives in and he puts himself in really bad situations on the ground. Bahamondes has better cardio. He has better kicks too. And I think that's important here because I think he's going to be able to hurt him at range, which just means Ogden's going to telegraph these takedown attempts like far more coming in on Bahamondes as opposed to if they were in the pocket just throwing some shots. So I like everything. I think Bahamondes just by himself is a great parlay piece here. I really like his talent. I don't like that he hasn't fought in a while. I also brought this up on Pat's show last night. It's weird to me that a year ago he was supposed to face Ludovic Klein and it got canceled. Okay. Then it got lowered to Nicholas Mata, but I'm like, that's a cool fight. And now this.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know how this got to, like from Ludovic Klein to Ogden is like whatever. I don't like Ogden. I said it 2 weeks ago. I have no reason to like him anymore now against who I think is a way better and more dangerous and well-rounded guy in Bahamondes. I see that Io likes in the distance. Yeah, somebody had written me earlier in the week and said, like, do I just load up on the KO? And I'm like, well, Ogden's never been KO, blah, blah, blah. But I do think the sub's sneaky here if Ogden does dive in and get choked. Bahamondes, I mean, I know he had a choke in his last fight, but he doesn't have tons
Still
of
like plus 650 by sub.
Yeah, I saw it's plus 700 on DraftKings. I need a little more meat on the bone with that one, but I do think he gets him out of there one way or the other. And Ogden, I don't like these multiple weight cuts that he's gone through. He hasn't like been happy. He hasn't looked good with them. Like so, all things lead me to Bahamondes, and yeah, let's go.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, Jenna Marie had yeah. Guess what? This is now like my third guy I've had in the Ironman that got pulled during the card.
Yeah,
and I only have myself to blame because it's not your fault, Jenna. It's Alex Perez's fault. Like,
right
when the card starts, you're like, holy shit, Perez, like, he's going to do it.
He made
and
it.
then
Yeah,
he pulls out, you're like, he did it. He did it all right.
Yeah, well, that's what you got to take into account, man. That's what if you're playing Lupi Godinez this week, be careful because there's a large chance Cynthia Calvillo will be way off of her weight. So you got to keep that shit in mind, man. I'll make this quick. I like Bahamondes. I like him for cash. I just don't know how can he pay off that 9,400. I think he gets it done against Ogden inside the distance. I won't have hardly any of Ogden. He is not a dog I am looking at this week. Bahamondes scores well, but he's 833 over his average salary. It's pretty much all striking. He has no takedown or control time points basically in the UFC so far. Like Lou said, not quick, but third round sub over Zhu Rong. KO of Roosevelt Roberts in the last minute. What a KO that was. And then a close split decision fight with John McDessie. Yeah, same reasons Lou said. I don't like where Ogden's at. I like Bahamondes. I think he gets it done early. You just have to decide if 9,400 is worth it. That's the third most expensive salary this week. I tend to think he's probably not going to pay it off, but there is a part of me that thinks that, Trey Ogden is tough. Maybe he can eat a shitload of shots before he finally gets finished, and that's just going to rack up the points for Bahamondes. So I don't mind him in GPPs. I don't know how much I'm going to get to, But yeah, give me Bahamondes for sure in cash. I think he's a great parlay piece as well, Lou. I think you hit that one right on the head. And speaking of Cynthia Calvillo, she's been at flyweight for at least 3-4 fights now. I don't even know. It goes all the way back. Yeah, Jessica I was her fifth fight 5 fights ago. That was at catchweight. So either her or I don't remember who it was, missed weight. Calvillo's missed at least once or twice at strawweight. And again, hasn't fought there in forever. She's now 35, almost 36 years old. Weight cuts are getting more and more difficult, I would imagine. Keep the brakes, keep your foot on the brake for rostering Lupita or Calvillo. I'm sure the fight will happen, but Calvillo could easily miss weight here. All that said, I'm on the Godinez side. I like her for cash. I don't know how much GPP I'm going to get to. Calvillo is super tough. She actually scores very well per, I was going to say per win, but my stats, this is only the Jessica I win. She scored 116. She's lost 4 in a row since then to Chukagian, Andrade, Andrea Lee, and Nina Nunes. The name started off pretty strong and then kind of went off of a cliff there. I like Loopy for the win. I was originally looking at Calvillo, much like Sam Hughes this week. I was hoping okay, some of these women's strawweight fights or some of the dogs in these women's fights come through at a higher percentage. I don't think Calvillo's going to be able to get it done here against Loopy. I like Loopy for the win. I like her for cash. I just don't know how much GPP I'm going to get to for her. That said, in her last 3 wins, 114 per win and 4.25 points per minute. So the numbers are there for Godinez, Lou. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, I'm not going to bet this one.
Yeah, it'd be tough.
I like Godinez here, and there's a couple of reasons. First of all, Godinez didn't look great against Angela Hill. She only attempted 3 takedowns. Said there was something wrong with her hip afterwards. But I also think that Angela Hill fought a really good fight, and then she followed it up with the Dakota fight. Like Angie Hill, has looked, even her split decision losses, like she's looked good. So I don't think it's a shame in that loss. Do you know what there's a shame in? It's not even the quitting against Andrea Lee, which is a terrible look.
Yeah,
that's not even the worst of it. The loss to Nina Nunes, who has no
Nina
grappling,
was retiring,
who is retiring and has no grappling chops to speak of, beating up out grappling Calvillo. So here's my question with this fight: I don't think this is going to be as much grappling as people think. I think they'll be neutralized. I think Godinez is stronger. I don't know. Calvillo, on paper, has better technique, but if this thing stays standing, Godinez is just going to piece her up. I'm not playing the KO prop. I've seen some people on that. It's almost 10-1. I get it, but I don't want any part of betting this fight. I wrote that.
Sorry, that was you. Yeah.
I lean, but I think Godinez wins. I don't want to back her at minus 280. But Calvillo, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how you could back her. I've seen some people in the community backing her because of the price. They're hoping she goes through the Wayback Machine. I understand it. I can't do it personally, but I can't bet this fight. So
no. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like I said,
the main event is
an eye on the weight.
Let's get to the main event. That's
right. I'm glad.
I know we're not going to agree.
Lineups around.
I know we're disagreeing on the next fight. So
Are we?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, we're disagreeing.
I see your side though, but actually, I will start this one off. I see your side, and I assume by that you're going to be on the Sherman side, which I don't mind because, guys,
Shermanator.
Whatever hype is around Carl Williams, I'm not going to call him a hype machine or anything because it's not that deep. But Carl Williams has 1 UFC fight, so we do kind of need to pump our brakes. Sherman is, has a terrible UFC record, but he has 14 fights. He's 4-10, at least in 3-round heavyweight fights. That said, he's $8,800 this week, guys. I don't know how we can possibly play him. He scores very well over his last 5, 3.18 points a minute, 109 per win. That's only 1 win, and that would have been against Jared Vandera, probably one of the only 2 people worse than him at heavyweight. The other one is probably Carl Williams' first opponent, Lucas Brzeski.
What about Sherman? What about Hunsucker?
R.I.P. Hunsucker for sure. Lord Harry. Allows 4.42 points a minute, well over 100. He's $1,160 over his average salary, Chase Sherman. The only other thing here, Carl Williams inside the distance against Brzeski scored over 6 points a minute in 15 minutes of fighting. Chase Sherman, over all 14 of those fights I mentioned, gives up 6.19 points per minute inside the distance. It's one of the worst numbers on the card. common sense says Carl Williams is going to take Chase Sherman down over and over and score very well. I will have Carl Williams rostered, but the contrarian side of me is also thinking, what if Sherman comes out here and spoils everything and just knocks Williams down? If he can knock Williams down, this fight's probably over. So that said, he'll be at like 5% owned, 8,800. We could have an interesting play here. The last thing I'll say, Lou, unnatural salaries that do not add up to 16,200 since the beginning of 2021 have made optimal 17 times out of 21, 17 or 18 for 81% optimal. So play this fight. I don't care if you play Sherman or Williams.
There's a caveat with that. Typically, you're getting two salaries
cheaper.
Less than 16,000.
Yes, that is very true.
Just put that. All right, I have to put this.
That is a good caveat. But yeah, I just play this fight. I have no hate if you're playing Sherman because Williams has one fight. He has 15 minutes of total cage time compared to Chase Sherman, who has 145 minutes of UFC cage time. Lou, I've talked enough about this one. I'll leave it on you.
I have to put this up before I start talking.
Yeah, stubborn.
Okay, I have to put this up. I can't incriminate anybody else here, but so let's just get this out of the way right now. Okay. I don't like Carl Williams. Brzeski stinks. We've talked about the Jimmy Lawson fight, so I don't want to talk about any of that. Let's talk about how Williams looked and how tired he was during that fight, throwing hardly any strikes through the bulk of it. Okay. He's turning around. He's going to be undersized by a lot. He's turning around on 3 weeks. Yes, Sherman has no takedown defense. Point taken. Got it. This is a step down for Chase Sherman, like a big time step down for Chase Sherman. So here's what I'm cooking up, and I'm waiting for DraftKings to put this up. I want to do a same game parlay. I will talk about this later with Gordo. Just bear with me on this, Monk. Williams to get a takedown in the first round, because he's going to. The fight to go over 5.5 minutes, and Chase Sherman money line. And it's probably going to pay 10-1. And if you want to throw in like Sherman, like fight to end by KO, you might get this to like 18-19-1 for Sherman. Like, he's never looked tired in previous. Well, he looked like shit against Lawson too. I mean, like, I'm just not high on Williams. I'm never, look, I get it. It's Chase Sherman. Like, I get it. Like, nobody should be betting Williams because they think he should be a 4-1 favorite. If you're betting him because it's Chase Sherman, I get it. Like, I understand that. Again, the disclaimer on the bottom of the screen is there for a reason. It's just my madness and nobody else is on the channel. But I'll end with this. If I can concoct the same game to pay 11, 12-1, and you're telling me there's a viable bet against Carl Williams where I'm going to get 12-1 odds, I'm going to take it every time.
Yep.
I just don't think he's that good. Sherman stinks. Like, stinks.
Yep.
If this was a full camp, I'm never even making this play. But I haven't done it yet. Man. I can pull a disclaimer now. I haven't pulled it yet. And, dude, Lawson just looked so tired. Like, that's the thing, Sean. Lawson was, and I bet Lawson in that fight, and I knew within 15 seconds I lost that bet. I was like, oh, God. Oh, no. Lawson, just laid there. He didn't try to get it. He was cooked. So, no, Williams probably didn't look tired against him. It would be hard to look tired against him when Lawson literally was nothing.
Dead. Yeah.
All right, we're done with this fight.
I love how everybody's the community is so on one side. I love it for this fight because it's such a meme fight, but it's so funny.
I know people are like, "Oh, why is Chase Sherman on the card?" And then yes, Chase Sherman. Like, all right,
yeah. Here's one that I know.
I love these crappy fights, dude. I'm here.
Me too.
I love it.
Yeah. Especially on a pay-per-view, man. It's just fun.
I'm shocked it's not on the main card because it's a heavyweight fight. I'm shocked they're not like, well, we know you guys love heavyweights.
Look, we know Gilbert and Jorge should be the co-main event, but heavyweights.
I'm waiting for. Look, I'm now excited. I'm excited that I get to cap Chase Sherman against Roman Reigns now.
Oh,
that's a possibility. Like Chase Sherman against Randy Orton, like the RKO out of nowhere on Sherman. What do you cap Orton against Chase Sherman in like anything? Isn't Orton's got to be like a 2-1 favorite, right?
I was thinking about my 2-1. I don't think it's wider than that, but I don't.
I mean,
think Roman
Reigns has a good guillotine, so he probably by submission against Sherman.
Well, plus
probably,
he wears that bulletproof vest, so Sherman's. I mean, he's not going to be able to hit him to the body or anything.
Superman punch into a guillotine for Reigns. Round 1 sub. Get it done. My boy Moyes is here.
Love it.
Another fellow nut job. Moyes and Stubborn Mick, 2 of the nut jobs in the Wednesday chat.
Love it. I love to see it.
We don't have renowned nut job Justin Villegas. He's not here.
Yeah, where you at?
I don't know, man. I figured
he'll be around.
He's trying to win. He's trying to watch 87 streams a week. Where is he? Where's my dude?
Well, I know you got something about this one. Gerald Meerschaert, GM3, going against Body Bags. Joe Pyfer. Anything for this one? Or are you liking the Meerschaert side?
This fight kills me, man. So, I love GM3. I love GM3.
Yep.
I think I've hit a bet on him like his last 6 fights, 7 fights. Like I've hit either on him or against him. Like the Jotko fight, I was like almost a max bet for Jotko, who I don't love, but just bad. I seem to read
bad matchup.
And I kind of feel like this is a really bad matchup for Meerschaert.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Pyfer being like some elite guy. And no, I know he's from let's forget that he's from, by the way, he's not from Philly, he's from Delco. Delco's weird, bunch of weirdos out there. But like Pyfer is good enough wrestling to not do something dumb. His grappling is better than GM3's. It's the submissions on the ground where like you get worried.
Right.
So you're saying that Pyfer needs to make a mistake for Meerschaert to win. And what I like about Pyfer is he has explosive power, but he's not throwing like 90 punches a minute. Like he's pretty patient. Like I almost feel like his accuracy when he lands a strike is like 90%. Like the dude's deadly accurate when he lands. Against Ozzy Diaz was the same thing. I mean, I love me some Meerschaert, but I do like if you're gonna take the round 3 sub shot on Meerschaert, like the obligatory, that's fine. Get it. But I think Pyfer within the first 2 rounds gets a KO. And it's sad. Yeah, like I mean, dude, I get it.
That's a good play. Yeah, exactly.
It's GM3.
That's like the standard Meerschaert play.
And look, we've won on this play. It's like with me, it was him and Elkins round 3. It was like for years. Like just don't even think about it. He was like he didn't usually when he gets to round 3, he's down 2-0. And he needs
exactly
the finish. Like Stoltzfus, he was down. But the Bruno Silva fight was interesting because I hit him on round 3. I had a money line on that one too. I just don't like Bruno Silva. I think
250, huh?
But I think Silva's really limited, and Silva did not look like there was something wrong with him.
Yeah, he looked off.
So, like GM3 was, I mean, at worst he was 1-1 on the cards going into third, but I think he was up 2-0. So, like, it was a rare time when GM3 really didn't need the finish to get out of there. But yeah, like I think that's why this price is the way it is. I think Pyfer would be an even bigger favorite without the GM3, without the Silva win. So I sadly am picking Pyfer in the distance. I mean, the under 2.5 is like minus 350. It's like these totals, like fight doesn't go is 500. Like these are unplayable for me. Under 1.5 is unplayable. It's minus 135.
Yep.
You're better off taking Pyfer in the distance because it's the same price. And you like, I mean, but I think Pyfer knocks him out. I hope GM3 is not watching this because like I love GM3. I mean, he is saying KO1. It may be KO2. Like I said, Pyfer's not like expending all his energy in 2 minutes. Like he's patient. He picks his shots. He may even mix in a takedown and get out of trouble. Like, I mean, just to like get Meerschaert thinking about it. I mean, but I think it's just a matter of time. It's inevitable before he does get the KO here.
Yeah, I completely agree here. I'll be playing a bunch of Pyfer. He was $1,000 under his previous salary. That was the first time, if you'll recall, that we saw the $9,700 salary debut, at least since 2021, when he fought Alan Amedovski. So I've got a bunch of stats for Pyfer. You've got to throw them all out. Amedovski sucks. He's bad. These numbers from Pyfer are just ridiculous against that Meerschaert. So I will be playing Pyfer at 8,700. I think there is a potential value for me there. But that said, I said this on the Wednesday show, man. You cannot count out Gerald Meerschaert. You cannot play 0% of GM3. You have to play. I'll probably be, what's a good safe number? 10 to 15% 15 to 20% if you're really feeling it. I think that's totally acceptable. I'd like to see what his ownership is. I bet you it's going to be around there, if not lower. I think there's going to be a lot of people on pipe for this week. What I tend to see week to week is a lot of people on Twitter, and we're in a very closed bubble. Out of all the people that watch UFC, there's about this percent of them that we engage with on Twitter. There's a lot more out there than that. And it makes you feel like come Thursday, come Friday, that these lines should be somewhere, or that ownerships are going to be somewhere. And then when it comes out on Saturday and you see what the actual numbers are, it's a bit off. And that's kind of how I feel with this one. I think Mearchart's going to go under owned. So you could get a little 15, 20%, maybe some leverage here, but it might be for nothing, man. I'm with you on this one. I think Joe gets it done and probably gets it done early. We've seen Mearchart just belittled with punches before, and that could happen again here. I hope it doesn't, because like you, I'm a fan, but that's kind of how I see it going. Next one. Michelle Waterson Gomez in the running for longest name in the UFC. Well, maybe not even on this card. We've got Shailan Nuerdembike to give her a run for the money, but she's going against Luana Pinheiro. I'll start this one off. Waterson Gomez just signed an 8-year deal. You thought the Holly Holm deal was mysterious. Her best friend, Michelle Waterson Gomez, just signed a 8-fight deal at 37 years old after going 1-4 in her last 5, with her only win being against Angela Hill, and that was a very, very close split decision. I like Pinheiro here at 8,600. She scores extremely well. I'm hearing a ton about her cardio this week. I'm not really counting that. I want to see it again. I don't like how her DQ fight ended. I want to see a full fight here. She scores very well, 4.6 a minute, 104 per win. She's $300 cheaper than her average salary at 8,600, and she scores over 2 points a minute, Lou, in takedowns and control time. I think she could potentially have her way with Michelle Waterson Gomez. I think Waterson Gomez is probably washed. That's kind of just how I see it. I wouldn't pick her. I don't know how much of her I'm going to play. Probably close to 0%. She scores 2 points a minute, right around the Lewis line, 100 points per win. That was just in her last win. So in her career, it's actually much worse, 88.73. I'm on Pinheiro here. I'll probably have close to 0% of Waterson Gomez, to be honest.
Yeah. So number one, I
do got a Pinheiro fever.
Number one, I like this is a live bet spot for Waterson.
100%.
I think you're going to probably get her at close to plus 300 easily
after the first. Yeah.
So I have no reason to bet her pre-fight, but I'm going to throw out a prop to consider, and then maybe bet that I'll be giving away in a little bit. I don't want to spoil anything for my next show, but I could make I see people on the split decision here, and I'll raise you one.
Ooh.
I have a very viable case for a draw.
Ooh.
Pinheiro, the way she fights in the first, could easily get a 10-8 in the first. Okay. Waterson's pretty durable in her career. Pinheiro is always hunting subs. She's got 6-7 minutes of cardio, I think, tops, the way she fights. I could see a 10-8. And if she doesn't get her out of there in the first, I could see Waterson winning the next 2 rounds and getting a draw, as crazy as it sounds. I don't know that Waterson has 10-8 potential, really. I think for this draw to hit, you need a 10-8 in the first round from Pinheiro. But, the splits are always you don't got to tell me twice on a split decision. That's my game. So, Aaron, oh yeah, and by the way, for everybody, shalom for the holiday season.
Oh yes.
To the 2 Jewish people that I've done content with this week, that are neither in the chat right now. That'd be Couch Warrior and Aaron the Dog, and 3 Jewish people. Patrick, Addicted to Combat. For the 3 Jewish people I know, shalom.
Yeah, big week as a non-really religious person. I know I'm traveling to Omaha for Easter. I don't ever think about that stuff. But yeah,
when you think of the plight of Jews over 5,000 years, you think of Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh yeah,
I know I do.
I mean, just a destination for all.
It reminds me of did you ever watch the old Batmans, the camp with Adam West?
Oh yeah.
I remember there's one time when Robin's or when he's Bert, or he's Dick Grayson, I should say, is
yep.
I think the bad guy was like this Mayan guy, like, whatever it was. And he's like, curse those Mayans. And Bruce Wayne says, now, Dick, the Mayans have given us lots of great things in life, like corn and the white potato. So without missing a beat, Dick Grayson says, gee, Bruce, you're right. The next time I eat mashed potatoes, I, for one, will think of the Mayans.
What a great line that is.
I don't know how they got through all that, like, with straight face. When I'm like a kid, I'm like not thinking anything of it. As an adult, you're like, what drugs were they on?
Dude, they must have just been dying in that room on that one. Let's see. I love this fight, man. Kelvin Gastelum, Chris Curtis. Why don't you go ahead and start us off on this one? I've seen a lot of people on Curtis because he's the dog this week. What are your thoughts here?
Well, it's good that this is the fight that came up because I gotta put this. I think I gotta put this up right now.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
your Southpaw Orthodox matchup, baby.
So it's not just Southpaw Orthodox, but I really do think that this fight goes the distance at an insanely high clip.
Me too.
Both guys are really durable. I mean, the only time Curtis was finished was like the second fight of the same night. They didn't even know he was fighting the second time. I am on the Gastelum side here. If you are on the split decision props here, that's great too. What I want to talk about the most here is I want to say two things that are relevant. I think that Curtis is a step down. Now, in all fairness, I am not a Curtis fan. Like, I think his best victory was him cheerleading around the cage when the leads locked in John Cena's finishing move against Hermanson. Curtis overdoing it with the celebration. Like, I don't know, man. I think a lot of what he does is kind of classless, like, to be honest. Like, so, but anyway, we just saw this and I got this fight wrong with Augusto Sakai and Dontel Mays, where I'm like, well, he's done. He's 1-5 and he's been finished and he looks terrible. And then he got to step down in competition against Dontel Mays and he absolutely dominated him.
Mm-hmm.
Gastelum maybe hasn't looked the greatest, but this is a big step down from the killers that Gastelum is facing. So that's number one that I think is important here. Number two, Chris Curtis, his takedown defense in the UFC has been perfect.
Yep.
Right? Why has it been perfect is the question. Hermanson on record was 0-6. But if you watch that fight, Hermanson was literally not even trying to secure takedowns. He was getting takedowns to push Curtis away and then stay on the outside and maintain distance. The Adolfo Vieira fight, who, by the way, next month, fighting friend of the channel, Cody Brundage.
Yeah.
Or actually, a couple of weeks. Might be next week. So, he already said he doesn't like cutting weight. He said he's like, I'd rather eat and like be comfortable at my normal weight. Like, hey man, that's his choice. Like, if he misses weight at like 185, he's,
Yeah. Well, you're Dana in the press conference afterwards.
So here's the thing. If you look at the Vieira fight against Curtis, I think Curtis did a good job in the first round stopping Vieira's takedowns, but I don't think Vieira is a really good, he's not a takedown artist. Like, he's a good grappler, but he's not a takedown artist. And by the second round, all these takedowns Vieira's trying, he's running at him from like 9-10 feet away. He's totally gassed. Like, these were barely takedown attempts, but they count in the stats. So I'm just saying, look past the stats a little bit about Curtis's takedown defense. I still think his takedown defense is good, but Gastelum's going to be able to mix them in here. He's going to get at least one. He may get two. He may steal rounds. He may just secure rounds that way. Gastelum is a better minute winner anyway. Curtis is like a guy that bonks you, and I think Curtis might have some moments here, but I think on the whole of it, Gastelum is just going to completely just out volume him, mix in some takedowns. It's not going to be exciting, but if you have a Gastelum ticket, you are going to love how unexciting that third round is. You're going to love every boring second. Like, I had John Salter and Bellator last week, and they were booing, and I'm like, give me that plus 300 ticket, man. I'm like, just keep backpacking him. That's all you need to do. You stay on his back. You don't listen. They booed him. He retired and they booed him.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like, I ain't booing. I'm like, I gave him a standing ovation. I'm like, thank you for a dog ticket on the way out, sir.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, the best part of this is we're going to see Chris Curtis absolutely break down on Twitter.
I want no part
if he
of
loses
DFS.
a decision.
No,
same.
Part of DFS.
Same. I'm on your side completely. I like Gastelum for the win here. I like the decision win for Kelvin Gastelum. Absolutely love it. As you said, I hate this fight for DFS. I will have probably none of it, honestly. None of it rostered. I don't even know who I would like for cash. I'm picking Gastelum, but that said, you can't really play him in cash. There's not really much to say. You mean 8,200, 8,000 for both of these guys. Sneakily optimal. Curtis making it in 2 of his past 5. Gastelum 1 out of his past 3. All that, I think the winner could easily get 80, 90 points and pay off neither one of their salaries. Last thing I'll say, if you play Prize Picks, and this was my Prize Pick yesterday on the DFS show for Pub Sports Radio, and you brought it up earlier. You said Gastelum will get 1. His takedowns are at 0.5 against Chris Curtis for this weekend's fight, Kelvin Gastelum. If I was you, and I did tell you to play this one yesterday's show, play that one over half a takedown for Gastelum. I think you're
just betting on him actually trying it. Like that's what it is.
Exactly. And he could try 10 of them and one of them's going to land and you're going to cash that over. So I think Curtis, his 100 next to his takedown defense goes away after this weekend. And I love the Gastelum decision. Love that look. Next fight. Are people really crying about this fight on the main card? Raul Rosas Jr. going against Christian Rodriguez. I'll go ahead and start this one off. I love Rosas Jr. here. I think he probably gets it done inside the distance. Hopefully, the earlier the better. Scores 6 points a minute in his last fight. Did finish that one in the first round just before the 3-minute mark. So again, kind of like Pfeiffer, you got to throw those stats out. You know what Raul Rosas is going to do. The question is, what is Christian Rodriguez going to do? Because I've heard and seen a ton of love for Christian Rodriguez this week at 7,100.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think he's a tough guy, but I mean, there's people outright. I mean, they're saying that he's going to win easily over Rosas. He's going to submit Raul Rosas. I would be surprised if that happened. Like I said, I'm picking Rosas. I'll play it in DFS like Rosas is going to win. I'll have some of Rodriguez, but at 7,100, I'm not really interested, man. 1.89 points per minute over almost 20 minutes of UFC fight time. He's very cheap this week, but my goodness, if you're a narrative person, why would they put a guy who's going to beat Rosas Jr. against Rosas Jr. in his second UFC fight? This guy is a potential cash money-making machine, especially the way Mexican mixed martial arts is going as of this year. 3 champions, possible 4 on the horizon if you're into the Irene Aldana hype. I think they're going to keep pushing this guy as they should. I like Raul Rosas Jr. I think he's going to get it done here against Rodriguez. I would be surprised if he lost, but the way it's sounding, a lot of people would not be surprised if Rodriguez wins this fight. So I'm playing a ton of Rosas. He's going to be one of my highest owned guys this week, and hopefully I don't eat a shit sandwich like I did a couple weeks ago, but that's just kind of how I see this one. What about you? Oh, yes, there it is.
But I'm lying because I like Christian Rodriguez.
Oh, no.
Now,
you tricked me.
But as another guy, I'm going to live bet. I want to live bet him after one. I want to see how he looks. I think Rosas Jr., he looked tired in the 3rd round in his Contender Series fight. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you don't have like tons.
I'm moving to Texas in 1 week. I will have a sombrero shortly.
I don't. Here's the problem I have with betting this fight. I don't love. Like, I think Rodriguez. I like his cardio. I don't love his takedown defense, but I also think that he's pretty good at staying out of trouble on the ground. I know Rosas Jr.'s like levels. Like, I get it, but like, I think C-Rod's really good. And I look at the Pierce fight, like, I don't care that Williams took him down. Rodriguez is like, cool, take me down so I can choke you. Like, I don't care. The Pierce fight, I love what I saw from Rodriguez. That was short notice, up weight class. And I think that's more indicative of his talent. So here's kind of where I'm leaning here. The problem I have with getting to a bet on Rodriguez is if you live bet him, I don't think he gets a finish against Rosas Jr. Guy's never been finished. He's pretty tough from everything I've seen. Yeah, he's dominating, but like, he's taken some shots. I think he's tough enough here to even though he's not going to be as good of a striker as Rodriguez, I think he's pretty tough. So that means Rodriguez has to win a decision to win this fight. And you mentioned Narrative Nation. If we're going to talk about narrative, what does Rodriguez have to do to win a decision? Does he need a 10-8? I mean, like, what does he need optics-wise to win a clear decision that nobody complains about? So I think Rosas' split decision is kind of a fun look here. I think C-Rod's tough, man. I think Rosas, I don't think Rosas gets him out of there. I think Rosas wins by decision. If you want to parlay him,
If
like, I
that's the
get it.
case, your answer would be he would just backpack him the whole fight then, probably.
Well, I don't know. I
To
mean,
win a
look.
decision.
Well, let me ask you a question. If this thing hits the third round, Rodriguez has the cardio for it. Even if he's been on the ground for 10 minutes, his cardio is going to be all right. I don't know that about Rosas Jr.
True.
And then it gets real dicey. And I don't like having minus 250 and up tickets.
No.
When I see a guy gas the third. So I think Rosas is probably going to hang on and win a decision. But depending on what that C-Rod live bet price is, man. I mean, if he gets like dominated in the first round, like to the point of like he gets nothing off, he might be plus 500. And if he is, I'll take a shot on him. But
there you go.
Nothing pre-fight for me. And as far as DraftKings goes, I don't know what the hell to do here because I imagine Rosas Jr.'s ownership is just like through the roof.
Gotta be. Yeah, insane. I think it's probably like 40 some at I looked earlier. It was like 35 to 40.
And in all fairness, C-Rod's floor is like 1 point. So like it's a terror. Like Steve Garcia's floor at least is like probably 20.
Right.
Like Rodriguez could score 0. Like, I mean, he could. So I'm hesitant to know what I want to do with this in DraftKings. Could be one of my favorite, like play one guy, bet the other, and just be miserable either way scenarios. But
right.
But yeah, I like C-Rod. I like his skill set. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the live price is. No bet pre-fight for me.
Let's keep it moving. Kevin Holland, Santiago Ponzinibbio. What do you think about this one? Because I got a pretty good lean to what I'm going to be doing with it, and it does not involve much Ponzinibbio, to be honest.
Yeah, well, I know, I know an 8-year-old kid out there who him and his dad are rooting for Kevin Holland pretty big this weekend.
Yep.
My boy Tommy, but
shout out
Tommy and Tommy Jr. What a guy names his kid the same name. You had 9 months, you came up with the same name. I don't think Tommy's watching, so
shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired is right. So I don't like what I saw from Ponzinibbio in the Morono fight. I know it's only one fight, but I didn't really like what I saw him against the Pereira fight either. He's slowing down.
Yep.
This whole Holland's hand injury, I think he'll be all right. I'm hesitant to bet Holland here though, because he's a dummy. And that's where I worry. And I'm pretty sure that he had an unspoken agreement with Wonder Boy. They were boys all week. They were doing each other's pods. I'm pretty sure they had a gentleman's agreement, don't do any takedowns. And I'm pretty sure they did. I said it on this show when I broke down that fight. I'm like, Holland's not going to go for takedowns. He's going to want to prove he's the better striker. So I think Holland wins. Yep. I don't know that Holland gets a finish here. And because of that, and Holland could do some really low IQ shit here. So the pick is Holland. He probably wins in the distance. I'm not betting it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would never bet this fight because, it's Kevin Holland all day. I mean, it's basically Kevin Holland versus his own fight IQ. You cannot guarantee that he won't, put himself in a bad position. I like Kevin Holland. I enjoy watching Kevin Holland fights. I enjoy watching Kevin Holland content for the most part. I like the guy. I want to see him win here against Ponzinibbio, who was probably losing that Morono fight until he wasn't. I mean, he's not an old man. Ponzinibbio is not old, but he is 36 years old, and he's got 35 professional fights, guys. That is a lot of fights. UFC record, he has 16. He's 11-5 overall. So that is a ton of fights. In fact, the cage time, 174 minutes. Actually, and that's even less than Kevin Holland. So it just seems like Ponzinibbio has just been in a ton of 15-minute fights. I just like Kevin Holland here, man, but you can't trust him. He is the one thing I will mention as far if you're thinking about putting him in GPP tournaments, Kevin Holland is 0 of 7 since 2021 making the optimal lineup. He scores 3 points a minute. That's respectable. Almost a top 10 number for the card, but only 94 per win, and he's $9,300 this week, guys. So yeah, Santiago, I don't mind that. I mean, a little Santiago decision, like Dixon says, that could be huge if you played Santiago in your lineup. I mean, this guy should probably be 10% owned, probably less, in fact. So you could find something there. I tend to lean Holland, probably inside the distance. And that's just kind of how I see it. I'm not going to be able to play too much of him though. 0 for 7 optimal. You know, I'm a big stat guy, and that one is ridiculous. Even Jared Vandera made the optimal lineup in his like 6 or 7 fights. So Kevin Holland, definitely not someone I'm looking for DFS, but I am looking forward to seeing him fight. Coco main event, a very exciting what should be a very exciting striking matchup. Rob Font going against the I would say up and comer, but I think he's pretty well established at this point, Adrian Yanez. I'll go ahead and start this one off, Lou. I love this fight for DraftKings. I will be playing a ton of both sides, but I think I'm leaning Rob Font, to be completely honest. You do get that salary savings of 7,700, so he is you get that dog salary. He's made the optimal lineup in 2 out of his past 3 fights. One of them was a loss to Cheeto Vera, in which he landed 271 strikes, scored 114 points, guys, in that loss. I mean, what more could you want from a guy, a stand-up guy who's going to be fighting for your money like that? So I like Rob Font. I'll probably have more of him rostered than Adrian Yanez, but this might be my, I don't know. It'll be a top 3 fight, I would imagine, for me as far as DraftKings goes. Both guys score closer to 4 points a minute than 3 points a minute, basically 100 points per win. Yanez's numbers are a bit lower than I would have expected, only 95 per win. But that said, he's $600 cheaper than his usually is, so there is some value to be had here. I just personally think there's more value on the Rob Font side. I love Font. I want to see him get a win here. Nothing against Yanez. I just want to see Font get a win. But either way, this fight's going to be a banger, and I think someone's has a really good chance of making the optimal lineup. Lou, what do you think about this this possible banger of a fight?
Rob Comic Sans Font. Do I think his chin is shot? No, I do not. He took a year off. I think that was good for him. I think he's going to throw more volume. I think he's going to land like 80, 90 jabs here. I think he's going to win minutes. I think he wins the first round at an insanely high clip. Yanez has typically been a slow starter, except for the fight that I have been calling. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this. Let's call it Frontier Justice against Tony Kelly.
I like that. Yep, love it.
Let's call it Speak
Frontier
Hands Across
Justice,
America.
Yeah.
Something like that. So I think Font can just jab him and jab him and jab him. And, look, I know Font's been knocked down. I know that, the durability eventually goes, especially when you're seeing some of these looks that he's been, the way he's getting hit. But I think if this thing
getting hit by Cheeto and Jose,
it comes down to one thing. Can Yanez have a big moment in like the second and third round of this fight and steal the round with like a big knockdown or big optics? I think Font can hang in there. If Yanez doesn't drop him, I don't know how he wins the fight. Font's going to be throwing more volume in every single round. I mean, look at his numbers. I know some of these are 5-round fights, but like 260 strikes, like 170. Like, this is a dude who throws tons of volume. His cardio is good. His durability, he's getting knocked down. And like, I like Yanez, but the best guy Yanez has ever fought is Davey Grant. And Font is just a bigger problem, a way bigger problem than Davey Grant.
Yeah.
Now, Yanez has improved. Like, I don't do this whole vacuum. Like, we had this fight a while ago. He's the same exact fighter. Like, no, Yanez is young and he's improving. But I don't know how he's improving. Like, he's not improving in the sense of like grappling or wrestling.
Right. Yep.
He's just, is he more powerful? Because his volume is still pretty low. Like, is his striking defense better? Maybe, but against a guy like Font, who's going to throw so many punches, it may not even matter optically. So I like the dog shot here with Rob Font. If you like Yanez, and I don't know, I haven't looked at FanDuel for this, but like whatever their round 2, round 3 prop is for Yanez, maybe worth a look. I don't think, if Yanez does it, he's not knocking him out in first. Play that much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Yanez wins the first round. So you could also live bet Yanez if you really want to, but I think Font kind of just gets it done with like a volume-based decision here.
Love it. I completely agree. I love
Yanez, by the way. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yanez, like, I love him. I love watching him, but like,
this is a tough one.
but who do I like watching him against? Randy Costa and like
Tony
You know,
Kelly.
and like Davey Grant, and like, well, I got that one.
Davey
Wait,
Grant, yeah.
I think I had Tony Kelly by split decision that fight. So like,
Oh
let's just
no.
say bad read. That whole card was like, I think I had Hawes in the distance against Win. So I got that one.
Yeah.
That was when Delidza fucked up Dawkins. And it was like all
Nice.
down. It was like all downhill for me at that point. It was like I got like a 3-10 card. Like,
oh god,
I had Holland sub. I did have the Holland sub against Means for that card, I believe. But I think I had like everything else wrong. I think I had like Cater. Like, I don't know, dude. It's a bad card. Jack, thank you for not telling the joke.
Co-main event of the evening. Everybody is on. I mean, there's a ton of people on the B side of this fight. Gilbert Burns going against Jorge Masvidal. Why don't you start us off on this one so you can finish the main event? But how do you see this Masvidal Burns fight looking?
Burns is going to fuck him up.
I think so too.
Bad. And I'm going to talk about a way to play this on the same game show with Gordo.
Ooh, teaser. Later. That's what we call a teaser in the biz.
A way to reasonably get this number to like even money, which
something
is great.
Manageable. Yeah.
Oh my God. You'll look at it and be like, how's this even money? Yeah, I just don't think Masvidal is good. I think he's a fish out of water on the ground against Burns. Yeah, he's never been subbed. Like, okay, well, I think that could change very easily here. What I don't like about, I mean, Sean, if you want to bet me even money, if you love Masvidal so much, let's bet even money on it. If you love it so much. And I love, dude, like, if anybody that watches this show knows, I hate betting chalk. Like, I love betting underdog. I fucking bet Chase Sherman before. Like, I'm happy to, bet underdogs. Like, I love it. The problem I have is, like, with Masvidal is that Covington fight, he wasn't even trying to get up. Covington was doing nothing. Masvidal lost the will to get up. And we've seen this before when guys just keep dumping you. Mat return after mat return after mat return. And I think Burns isn't going to just be like content to have position on Masvidal. You're going to be throwing crazy shit on the ground. Masvidal's talking about retirement. And I just don't think Masvidal, like, honestly, I just don't think Masvidal is that good to begin with. Like, if you go back at his wins, like, what's his best win? Diaz? Watch Diaz by, like, ref stoppage? Like, come on, man. It's the guy who throws no volume. Like, I don't know, man. So I like Burns. Look, admittedly, part of it is, like, I just don't like Masvidal. Like, I don't. But
I agree.
Do I think the line's disrespectful? No.
I don't either.
I think Burns has because Burns has such a clear path to win here. Like, just crystal clear path. And he's shown that he wants to, but he's shown that that's how he fights too. It's like, we're not worried about Burns going for takedowns. Like, he's going to go for takedowns in this fight, and Masvidal's not going to stop them. And that's going to, I mean, if he wins by decision, it means he got 3 takedowns. Like, okay.
Yep. Yeah. Colby controlled 65% of that 25 minutes. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Masvidal just like, I can't get up. I agree completely. I think this is Burns all the way. I'd be fine if I was wrong. I wouldn't care. I mean, I don't really like Masvidal too much either. I mean, his personality for me leaves something to be desired. That said, I love Gilbert Burns. I will be rooting for Gilbert Burns. I actually like the guy. That said, he's almost $2,000 more than his average salary in his past 5 fights. So I don't like that. I like him for cash, but probably not for GPP. Scores 3 points a minute, 96 per win. So I would take it easy on the Burns DFS plays, unless you think he's going to like absolutely maul Masvidal. But even if he's, I guess I could see a case for what Lou just described, a 15-minute decision. Burns is going to be, racking up control time and possibly even some ground and pound. So maybe I'll take that back. Maybe a little bit of ownership on Burns, but 9,600 is a terrible salary to play. It's very difficult to pay that off. But Masvidal, over his last 3 fights, it should be noted, his losses, he's giving up 138 points, Lou, almost 139 points to Colby, Kamaru, and Kamaru. So I think Burns is right there on that level at this point with Colby and Kamaru. We've seen Kamaru kind of move down a little bit, and Colby, who knows, he hasn't fought in a year. So I think Burns is right up there in that discussion. Why couldn't he perform that well against Masvidal? Those were all 5-round fights, but Usman, I mean, put up that many points on him in a second round KO. He put up a ton of points on him. So give me Burns however he wants. I think he's going to easily, get this fight to the ground. Everybody's talking about Masvidal's power. All I had to hear was him talking about retirement, man. Between him talking about retirement and taking time away from training to promote his game bred stuff, which is fine, trying to look forward for his own future. I got no problem with that. But there's only 24 hours in a day, and when are you training as hard as you should be? So give me Burns.
It's revenge for the Cowboy Cerrone win.
Exactly,
Revenge.
man. The second Masvidal said the R word, I was out. I'm out. I'm not betting ever on retiring fighters unless it's Nina Nunes against Cynthia Calvillo. Right. Lou, main event time for the quadrilogy, the tetralogy, whoever the hell.
Sort of.
Whatever, yeah, sort of, kind of. It's probably just the second fight, to be quite honest, since a lot of people call these two different sports, which they are. Alex Pereira going against Israel Adesanya. I'll start this one off. I'm going to be big fading Adesanya as usual. That should come as no surprise to anyone if you've been watching me for any amount of time. He scores absolutely terribly as far as DraftKings go. In his last 5 fights, guys, 2 points a minute, 82 per win over his 3 wins. And in his career, it's not much better. 2.3 points a minute, 87 per win. Sure, when he first started off, he was finishing guys left and right. Hasn't done that in quite some time. And he's had tons of 5-round fights. I believe 9 5-round middleweight fights. And he's only putting up like 2 points a minute, guys. It's pretty ridiculous. Do not play Israel Adesanya. That would be my advice. He is 0-5 since 2021 and making the optimal lineup. People every time say, you're crazy, you can't fade Izzy, and every week he scores like 80 points and doesn't do shit as far as DFS. So fade Izzy. I will have some Pereira because I think he can win this fight. I think he can win this fight inside the distance, but I'm not going to have a ton of it. I'm going to be way under on this fight as a whole. That's it for as much as Izzy doesn't score. His defense is pretty good, doesn't allow a ton of points. And Pereira didn't score really a ton until, that he scored a bit in the first and then a bunch in the 5th. But before that, he was not on his way. He only put up 94 points in that win. So I don't know if that's going to be good enough even at 7,900. Do love the fact that he is an underdog here, and I'll have significantly more of him than Adesanya because I may have 0% Adesanya here. So yes, Dixon, I am allergic to Izzy. I don't want him in my lineups at all, making them all, I'll have a reaction. I'll get all swollen. And yeah, nobody wants that. So give me Pereira for the win. But most importantly, give me the huge fade on Israel Adesanya. And I'll keep doing that until I am dead wrong, which I'm sure will happen sooner than later. Lou, why don't you take us home with the main event? How are you seeing this one here?
I agree with this comment. One of them by something.
Yeah. Dixon, before you get started, to answer your question, he landed 91 strikes against Adesanya in his last fight.
So I'll make this one as short and sweet as possible. Pereira's beaten him 3 times. Yep. If you want to tell me that Adesanya was beating Pereira until he wasn't, great. But he didn't beat him.
Right.
I mean, he didn't. And
have you seen the slow motion? Have you seen the slow motion clip of the end of that fight? It looks so bad.
Every clip. Like Sean bringing up the next point I was going to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
These champions trying to get their belts back. It's not good. I mean, and Edwards dominated Usman. Like, dominated him. Yeah. I mean, he lost a point. He got a yam bag and still dominated him on the scorecards. I think it's in his head. I mean, and like, I know this isn't really like true capping what I'm about to say. Pereira is a terrifying human being. Like, right? I love Bo Nickel, right?
Yep.
I think Bo Nickel could smash either one because he's got such a clear path. Okay. Right. But I wouldn't feel that good about it. I'm like, oh no. I'd be like, oh my God, Pereira could just hit him once and like murk him. Like, it's terrifying. Like, this is
that left hook might be the best weapon in the UFC.
Like, this is a dangerous man. I don't think Adesanya has finishing equity. I mean, I see people talk about like the KO and the sub. Who the fuck is like, right, there you go. He will. I mean, like who's is he finishing? Like, who's he?
No finishing? One. No one.
Why are we like even entertaining that? Like, well, now he's gonna get a finish against the guy he's lost to 3 times. How? Like, I don't understand the logic doesn't make sense to me here. Like, it's not like if Adesanya was knocking everybody out and was 0-3 against him, I'd be like, it's live. I see people taking the route like he's going to go for takedowns. I mean, he tried, and Pereira had one too. I mean, like,
exactly.
It's going to be standing. If it's 25 minutes for Pereira to hit this guy, I think Pereira does have decision equity, but that's not how I think it's going to end. I think Pereira is going to just like punt him over the cage, like round 3. I don't even think it's going to go as long as last time, man. This Pereira is terrifying. And he's only improving, by the way.
Exactly.
He's only improving. Like, he's so new to mixed martial arts that all he's been working on is his ground game because his striking's so good. He may be the better grappler here. Like, he may even use it. I don't know. But
how easy would it be for him to go up and snag that title? I don't know.
I don't know, man. That's
Glover wants him to go up there.
It won't. You know why it won't? Because I think he's gonna have to. I think he can't just face Izzy twice and then be like, "Yep, I'm moving up." I think they'll kind of have him. I think the money fight with him is still Khamzat. I still think that's like kind of the money fight.
Yep.
I think you can sell a lot of tickets with that. But
plus, who knows what's going to happen with Shavkat here soon? There's some interesting middleweights coming up that
I think Yuri.
Interesting.
Yuri still has to. Prochazka still has to get a shot. Jamal Hill. I'm gonna be. I can already tell you. I already tell you right now. I'm gonna be picking Prochazka because I just love that. I'm picking a Psycho and Pereira here. I'm picking a Psycho and Prochazka. I love that dude. But Pereira Prochazka could be interesting. At 205. Give me that. I'll tell you what. If Pereira loses the title, he could move up. If he loses this fight, it's a trilogy. Like, there's no, they're gonna do like fight 5. It's to be the trilogy in the UFC.
Of course, they have to.
But if I can't. Bilal's gonna I love Bilal, man. But
me too.
Bilal. Only 8 shots. I love that Jack just hates Izzy. Like, so funny about it.
The more I watch footage of Izzy, the more I can see Jack's perspective on that one. To be honest,
8 times in a lifetime. But give me Pereira and probably to get it done.
Inside
this, and that is it for my expert analysis on the main event. I feel like my analysis of the Sherman fight was great, and then it was all downhill.
No, this is a great show, a great 50th show, a great pay-per-view card to talk about on our 50th show as well. So guys, that is going to do it. Thank you for joining us a week early. I really appreciate that. Before I move to Texas, I am going to visit some family in Omaha this weekend. So I am leaving tomorrow first thing in the morning. So Lou, thank you for moving this around. I know you're a busy man. Hopefully you get a little bit of a break here.
Thank you, huge chat. Break coming up.
Yeah, thank you, chat, for being here a day early. Really appreciate it. Hopefully I won't miss the show next week, but like I said, I am moving to Texas on Friday. Just depends on the time of day when I'm going. But if I'm not here, my guy Lou will be more than happy to hold it down for one more week. After that, I'm going to be doing tons of content, baby. Once I'm settled in Texas, it's going to be great. Your boy's not going to be missing many more shows after that, I tell you that much. Anyways, we will get you out of here, get you guys going on your Thursday. Thanks again for joining us. Lou, is there anything else you want to say to the people before we let them go? Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, don't go too far. 20 minutes. I'm right back on the air. Same shirt. Depending on if somebody's in chat, I may have a prop. I'm not sure. But
there you go.
I'll be back in 20 minutes for props to consider and then maybe bet with Brady and Luke, SWR Betting, Luke Lamp. And then tonight at 10, I'm just recording it. We're going to release it tomorrow morning. I did the pilot episode of Same Game Profitability last week, which was a working title. It is not the name of the show. Pat and I were workshopping it last night. It's going to be something along the lines of like generational wealth with same game parlays or like I'm going to
hit that algorithm.
I may change the name every week. Like, I don't know, man, but I'm going to do something. I was going to have SGP in the title. Gordo gambles, that adorable little Canadian cherub, and I, who is less than half my age, depressingly enough. Him and I will be going over some cool ways to alter these fights with same game parlays, including my Burns play. He has a Burns play too. They're both different, and they're both like plus 170. So,
ooh, love it.
So anyway, I don't even think his has Burns in it. That's the best part.
Oh, nice.
I think it's pretty well done, but But yeah, stick around 20 minutes. I'll be right back on the air.
Hell yeah. You can find me on the MonkMMATics channel. Check out Game Theory. It's totally revamped this week. I might be putting out another video, hopefully some salary voodoo. It just, guys, these 2 weeks is crazy. So I promise after Texas, there will be no more variations. I'll be able to put this stuff out. No problem. No more setbacks. That'll do it, guys. As usual, thank you, Jack. I want you all to enjoy the fight. So enjoy, and we will see you in the next one.